For those who are interested, I just recorded a video on why you want really good healthcare coverage, and and just to summarize it, when you're in the emergency room, it doesn't matter how rich you are, how much capacity you have to pay. You need to convince the person in the emergency room, and you may not even be conscious, and your loved ones may not be anywhere near you, that you have the capacity to pay. That's why you need a very good health insurance wherever you are on the planet, if you can possibly afford it. But now to a second point, when it comes to investing well, uh, we always, when we talk about investing and when we read in the news, we don't really know what's going on with the person. And what I want to convince you of is that it is both a combination of irresponsible, unintelligent, and not smart investing to engage in the act of investing in long term opportunities if one doesn't have the downside covered. And what is the downside? The downside is very often non financial. So the downside is own your own home and own it with little to zero debt. Have that very, very well covered so that um, no matter how your investments go, you're not in fear of being kicked out of your home or having to move houses or having to downsize. You're all set on that front. Um, and another really, really important place to have the downside covered, well, I could talk about family relations, psychology, well being, all of those downsides. You need to be able to go through a dark winter. You need to be that your investments may not perform, they may not work out in the time frame that one expects them to work out. And so you need to have good personal relationships, good health, the ability to last the duration. And one of the so look for the ways in which life can take you out and minimize the risk there. One really important place that I've learned from now some family experiences is healthcare insurance. Make sure that if the fortunate happens and you find yourself having to be admitted to hospital, having to see a doctor, not because it's an election you want to, you elect to go see them, but because you have to, because you've broken your arm or something perhaps worse. Make sure that those downsides are covered. I don't think that we can be good investors if we don't have those downsides covered. One of the best things I've learned that one can do for one's family and friends is to talk to them about that and make sure that their downside is covered. So, if I want to build the most resilient network around me, it's not enough just for me to be covered, although that's a good start, and for my immediate family to be covered. But my extended family and friends ought to be covered as well. We don't want to see any person who is in our lives, however close or far away, get caught by not being covered for potentially very large hospital bills, which could occur if something bad happens. Um, it's just an important part of investing that's not covered. It's part of getting one's environment right. In my book, I write so much about, the library, the Bloomberg, separating reading, electronics, all of those things. All those things are great and good. But there's stuff that's even more basic than that. We start by investing in ourselves and our well being, and then we move on to potentially having the wonderful upside of owning an Amazon for 20 years. But we can't own an Amazon for 20 years effectively and successfully if we don't have those other things covered. Thanks for listening.